In John chapter 15, Jesus sets up a metaphor with the intent of teaching us what a healthy spiritual life looks like. He starts by referring to himself as the true vine and us, his disciples, as the branches. This is important because a vine is essentially the trunk of a plant, the foundation in which the branches grow from and stay anchored to. Jesus calls himself the vine because he embodies everything that a vine would in respect to its branches, in respect to us. In other words, Jesus is the source of everything we need to grow and sustain a healthy spiritual life. He advises us to remain in him as he also remains in us. Sounds a bit confusing, but what does this look like practically speaking? Well, it's a deep, intimate, and continuous relationship with him. We stay rooted to Jesus and strengthen our relationship by spending time with him through various forms of spiritual disciplines such as prayer and reading God's word. How else do you nurture a relationship with somebody if you don't spend time with them? That time spent with Jesus not only keeps us anchored to him, but because we are quote-unquote remaining in the vine, he provides us with the necessary nourishment for us to thrive, which in turn creates in us fertile ground, and that enables us to start bearing fruit. Failing to do so, however, will result in a lack of sustenance and likewise growth. He even warns that away from the vine, branches wither, no longer produce fruit, and inevitably die. But what exactly happens when we heed Jesus' words and stay rooted in him? Well, that's where the next part of the metaphor is introduced. Jesus refers to God the Father as the gardener. And isn't that just so cool, by the way? Anywho, he is the one that tends to this metaphorical vine and branches by pruning us. Now, pruning often gets misunderstood because it seems so counterintuitive. But without pruning, the plant, or in regards to this analogy, we will experience more harm than good. Pruning is akin to molding. It's the way God shapes and sculpts us into a person that looks more and more like the individual he created us to be by reflecting his character. The first benefit of pruning is removing dead or diseased branches, and this can be visualized by God removing sin or certain habits that aren't necessarily beneficial. Pruning also encourages new growth and it maximizes fruit production, and this can be visualized in a multitude of different ways. Wilderness seasons, trials, sufferings, challenges, guidance from fellow followers of Christ, spiritual disciplines, our own quiet time with the Lord, and the list goes on and on. The result of all of this, abiding in Jesus, as well as the pruning we undergo, is love and produced fruit. First and foremost, our relationship with Jesus will be strong and our trust and reliance on him will increase drastically. We will experience the depth of his love and we will begin to reflect his love in our own lives towards the people around us. Second, we will start to produce spiritual fruit, which Paul writes about in Galatians. Many of you already know the fruits of the Spirit, but I will put them on screen just in case. And all of this is evidence to those around us that we are followers of Christ. It shows others that we are his disciples. So remaining in the vine, remaining in Jesus not only provides us, the individual, with everything we could ever need for a healthy spiritual life, but it also benefits others. Because as we slowly mature and look more and more like Christ, we also become beacons of light in a darkened world that people desire to flock to. It opens up doors for evangelism and discipleship, and we all know what that leads to: a soul that is saved. Thank you to all of you who took the time to watch till the end. I'm really excited to get this message out there, as John chapter 15 is one of my all-time favorite passages. It's just so beautiful, and its beauty is complemented perfectly by its necessity. But that's all from me today. If you enjoy what God and I are doing here, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. I love you guys. God bless.